thank you guys for taking some time off your busy schedule to join us today on the different social media platforms. Today, we have a very interesting guest, someone I had the pleasure of working with here in the United States, doing coaching camps. And I must say, you know, Quinn Haba is just, she's top notch, true professional student athlete at Jefferson University. And Quinn is true, the real deal. Quinn is the real deal. I know she's gonna smile, but she's the real deal as a coach. I know when I see a quality in an athlete and in a person, and Quinn represents all those different things. Quinn is there. She has a bachelor in marketing, and also too she is starting her master's, I believe, at Jefferson in marketing. And Quinn, I want to welcome you to our audience in the Caribbean, in Europe, in the African continent, on all the different platforms. Welcome, Quinn.
Well, you are too kind. I'm so excited to be able to speak to everybody and just share my knowledge and my experiences with everyone. So yeah, you want me to just dive right in, get my background going?
Oh yes, yes, Quinn, tell us. I know you're ready to go, because I know you're someone that always on the move. Tell us, Quinn, how you got into soccer and you know your love and your passion for the game.
Yeah, of course. So even when I was just a little kid, my older brother and we were playing. My dad played when he was younger, so unfortunately he wasn't able to go very far with it, but he always made sure that my brother and I had the resources to just get involved and be as active as kids want to be. So I was always just, as a kid, I had a soccer ball at my foot from the second I could walk. So it was just always a groundworking of my life. And every weekend was just watching Premier League on the weekends. And I grew up being an Arsenal supporter. So wherever my Gunner fans are at, we got off to a terrible start yesterday, but we're still pushing for the rest of the season. But yeah, it was just always there in growing up as a kid. It was always something that I was paying attention to. My dad had it on, and it was just always in the background. So then when I got into the age where I could start playing rec and everything like that, I would say I started playing when I was around 3-4 years old, and then it just kind of elevated from there. So I was playing rec for a whole bunch of years. And then I moved on to a travel team when I was about 9-10 years old. And I played travel until I was about 17-18 years old. And then I went into college. So it's been the foundation of pretty much everything I've done in my life. And I'm so beyond glad and happy that I can say that it will be part of my life moving forward, because I feel like especially in the American sports system, things kind of stop either right before or just after college. So I feel honored, honestly, the fact that I'm able to make it such a highlight in my life going forward. So I know it's something that I'll have for a very long time.
How did you make that transition, Quinn? Because from your information, you came up through the ranks from playing rec soccer, then into travel, then into Premier Soccer, and then you now in college. How did you find that process, coming through that process, through the loops, through the process to where you are now?
Yeah, so playing, when I transitioned from rec into travel, that was more my parents doing because I was still a little kid. So it was kind of more of their push and background work in order to be able to get me into that spot. But it was also a matter of other coaches that had travel teams knew who I was and wanted to get me onto their travel team, because every team wants to win. So if you can try and find the players to do that, then that's even better. So I was kind of pushed to move in towards the travel soccer clubs, I guess. And then that was an amazing journey for me. I was playing travel for 10 years of my life. So it was a big chunk of time for me. And it was more so just playing because you had a love for the game and just learning as much as possible throughout those years and just really being a sponge and just soaking up as much as you can. And then when it got closer to high school years, I was playing both for my high school team at Lenape High School in New Jersey. and for club at the same time. But I personally always found that club was the more important thing to kind of stay with. So that was my travel team. And we ended up being one of the more successful teams in New Jersey, the first club team I was at. So we were traveling up and down the East Coast, just playing games, playing tournaments, winning a lot of things. We were in nationals in Chicago in 2012, I want to say. So it was a really fun journey to be along. And then the closer I got into high school, it was more so put on the individual person if you wanted to play in college or not. So obviously it's been a part of my life and I knew that it was something that I wanted to pursue. So while I was in club, I was reaching out to college coaches. I was giving them my travel schedules. I was giving them my tournament schedules and just making sure like I was kind of just being annoying in a sense and just staying on their tails. I knew what schools I wanted to be at and I knew what level I knew I could compete at. So I was kind of harassing those coaches as much as possible and just saying like, hey, I'll be at Tuckahoe, or hey, I'll be in Vermont or Virginia, wherever. And just making sure that club coaches or college coaches knew that I was there and knew that I wanted to be there. So it was a lot of putting the effort onto the player to make sure you were getting recruited by the schools that you wanted to be at. So it was, I can confidently say it was one of the most stressful times of my life, just making sure that you're doing all the right things. You're making sure that if there's film of you out there, that you're obtaining it and you're cutting things to see what coaches actually want to see. So as you kind of alluded to, I am actually on the opposite side of that realm now, where I'm actually one of the coaches that are looking through all those fun emails that club girls and athletes are just sending to the coaches of the schools that they're most interested in. But before I get to that, it was definitely a good time in high school to just enjoy genuinely going through club and your last fun years doing that before you transition into college. So it was a lot of my own personal effort to get to where I am now, but I can obviously thank coaches from the past and people that have been along my route to get here. So once you find the resources around you, it makes it a lot easier.
Quite interesting, Quinn. Some very important details you shared with us just now. Where that's why you're in marketing, Quinn.
Yes.
Yeah, that's why you study in marketing, because some of the information you shared with me, you took it upon yourself to gather your information, your videos. You took it upon yourself when to also reach out to the coaches to let them know where you will be, when you will be there, what time the games are being played, and the teams you're playing for. No wonder you're doing your master's right now in marketing. I see where it come from.
Yeah, I'm very detail oriented. I have a knack for knowing what people want to hear to a degree, but it's fun. I enjoy my field.
Quite interesting for the audience, the student athletes who are loving and listening the information. This is vital information, guys, where you have to take this upon yourself. You are not waiting for your coach or your father or your mother to get these things done. Quinn has mentioned these things at a very young age, because Quinn, I coach at travel level 2, premier level and rec level. But could you explain that the difference in terms of ages, if you can, so the audience outside of the US will have an understanding between the rec, which is about what, 3, 4, 5 years old, somewhere around there, so young, and then you have the travel age and the premier age. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. So rec is more recreational, but in the States we just kind of abbreviate that to rec. But it's more local based, and it's usually when you're a lot younger as a kid. So it's usually
what we will call grassroots, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, what they would call grassroots in the Caribbean region or any other part of the world. That is what really rec is, going into the Caribbean, to the different communities and getting that raw talent and working, trying to get the kids to fall in love with soccer, not coaching at that level. I don't think you should be coaching kids at rec level. You should be really letting them have fun, because you are introducing them to the game. Would you say so, Quinn?
I would say definitely like the grassroots rec level is more of just getting exposure to it, and the ones that have genuinely experienced their love for the game grow. during that time are the ones that usually move on. So like, yeah, it's more of like a younger age group. And then as you kind of realize like, wow, this is something that I really want to pursue, and this is something that does interest me, even when you're a kid, usually you can just organize that as, oh, I really like doing this, I want to continue doing it. So from there, you would end up moving onto a travel team. And then that's obviously just in the name of it of itself. So you're traveling around, even just staying local, but within your state and your region and your area. And your coaches are usually brought in somewhere, or they're hired to be there through the league or the club that you're at, and they're there to coach you. They're there to make you better, and they're there to just kind of harness the passion that you have and just ride with it and just let it grow. So then when you're on those travel teams, then you're able to just kind of hone in on those interests and then move forward from that. And so you're aging with your teammates, and so you're getting older in the process, even though you're still a kid. But it's a lot of just following the joy that you have for the game and just being able to play it in so many different places that you can. So I can say I am so thankful that I was in a position to be able to travel as much as I did. I would not have been able to see as much as the East Coast if I didn't have that. So it's the foundation for a lot of my friendships. So travel was definitely a huge part of my life, but there's definitely a clear transition between recreational and grassroots level, where it's more just, I like running and kicking the ball, and then travel, you just kind of age through it and you learn more about the game and you learn more about yourself.
Interesting, Quinn, because I was trying to get this information across to so that our audience, seeing that they are not here in the US. I know we have some coaches and some players too in the US would understand the system, but majority of the audience don't really understand the pyramid system, as we call it, where we have the grassroots, where we have, you know, the 3 and 4-year-old, and sometimes you may find even a 2-year-old in the midst of that. You know, and they come out and they play, and you would show them couple skills. It's not coaching, it's just couple, you know, controlling the ball and how to kick the ball, and, you know, having fun and celebrating. You got to be a kid with kids at that age. You must be a kid with kids at that age. I would tell you, because trust me, I coach at all different levels here in the US, so I fully understand it. You got to be a kid for these kids to be able to fall in love with the game. You got to be able to smile and play with them. As I told one person before, Quinn, that you can coach a premier team on the 19 or on the 18 premier team, and you can go there and you can be different. But when you work with kids at that age, they can sense your spirit, they can sense your appearance, they can sense your facial expression and your body language at that age. So you have to go there and smile. You got to go there and have fun with these kids. Other than that, these kids would not play. They just wouldn't play.
Yeah. Just to build on that too, I would even say that that's the foundation for everything, because I think especially in the American soccer system, it's very easy to just get lost in the job that it can become, especially as you kind of progress onto like travel and then high school and then collegiate levels. It can definitely be overwhelming, but if you're able to just kind of remember when you were a kid playing on those grassroots teams and everything, and just saying, oh my gosh, like, I'm not having fun right now, I need to get back to that. So I think it's the foundation for really just taking the experience much further, especially in the US.